Oh boy, I finally found time to talk about The Penguin, which right now is the best show. Well, on streaming. Well, it's on HBO too, so if you're still doing that, you know. But anyway, damn good show. And so this latest one, the Gold Summit. And this is where Penguin had to make his case to the other lesser gangs around town who weren't in charge of Gotham, but, you know, hated each other, and that kept them divided. It's the old story, divide and conquer, you know, whereas the big families ran it all. Well, since Sophia pretty much wiped out her family, yeah. And interestingly enough, she gives the same type speech to the lieutenants to keep them in line. And but to be honest, where were they going to go, you know? So so now it was Penguin's turn in this episode. And, you know, these speeches like, come on. But the groundwork has been laid by Bliss. This is the only Penguin has access to this drug now. You know, through extortion and murder is how he managed to be the only one with it. And he figured out a place underground to grow it because he was down to only a handful after his, you know, battle with the Maronis. So he's got it. Everybody wants it because the addictive nature of it is more powerful than anything else they've seen. So any other narcotics they're involved in will pale by comparison. So that's his main thing. It's not because, well, he's such a great politician and his speech was so moving and all that. The hesitancy was they don't trust the bastard, but the speech is the extra thing that wins them over in the sense that this is probably their best bet, their one chance to elevate beyond where they are. Of course, once all said and done, and let's say they beat Sophia and Sal, they're going to start warring with each other, you know, because they don't like each other. The idea that in this battle, hey, maybe some relationships will form and they'll be buds and all that. Highly unlikely. But nevertheless, that is the Penguin playing the game in the board, and of course, ultimately seeking to be the kingpin of Gotham City. And my guess is he'll succeed. If they do a bait and switch and Sophia wins out, I don't think that's going to go well. Certainly not in this era. There's means by which you could show this and that sort of thing, but ultimately, Penguin is the big Batman villain, and so you're going to want him around. Now, of course, Colin Farrell would probably at this point ready to give up the role because, God, he's got to wear that suit. So, maybe they could write it in where the Penguin loses weight or something, you know, and he just has to do a little facial makeup. And I don't know. But anyway, that's the deal. And this many episodes in, it looks to be a very solid show. There's always the potential they could ruin it and screw up here and there, but the performances continue to be really good for all involved. And it's just a great crime series. And not growth, but dark development of his protege, Victor, takes yet another step here. Albeit the guy pushed him into it. I mean, he was trying to find a way out of it, and the guy wasn't having it, and well, stupid walked right into that one, you know. So it's more. And anyway, the guy was a criminal piece of crap. So yeah, I don't feel too bad. But of course, Victor at heart is a decent guy. He's just in this situation. And also some of his decency is to his detriment in that he feels loyalty to the Penguin. And this is where it gets him, you know. In reality, he should have ran off with the girlfriend. That was his last chance to escape the dark side. And unfortunately, it was not to be. So here they are, and then there's quite a betrayal in here, albeit just because of a certain revelation to the Penguin's mistress, and that sort of thing. And it ties in. You realize what had happened and what Carmine had done to frame his daughter and all this sort of thing, and realizing Oswald could have done something. I mean, really, what could he have done? I mean, he's just keeping quiet and, well, look. And it's too bad, Sophia, but because he just would have been killed, I don't think he could have saved Sophia from what happened. But then again, look at all this Machiavellian planning he's doing, and could he have worked something out and gotten her out earlier, that kind of thing, perhaps. But of course, he didn't really care. He acknowledges that's a raw deal. His own daughter and all that. But he was looking out for number one. So ultimately, how did they get him? How did they get revenge? And of course, Sal Maroni he's really out for revenge, after what the Penguin directly did to him. And of course, Sophia the same way. She realizes the Penguin murdered the only one she ever cared about, which was her brother. So, yeah, they're both in the same bandwagon. And so the groundwork's laid. It all makes sense. And then it's almost like this horror movie ending here. It doesn't look great going forward. And despite the celebration for a cool thing that the Penguin shows, how you cut through red tape and bureaucracy and stuff with your elected officials. Well, you get some needle nose pliers. And use it on their nose. Yeah. It's that gets a city councilman's attention, So anyway, that's the Penguin method of petitioning your local officials. Yes, and boy, what do you know? It paid off in the end. Unfortunately, more bad news looks to be on the way. Yeah, because in the end, even Sophia, like Victor, seemed to have been originally, somewhat decent. And she was obviously the horrors begin while she's a child and she discovers her mother's death. And from then on, and then trying to be the quintessential daddy's girl, and then he betrays her just to save his own ass, and you can see how that breaks her down into becoming the monster that she was accused of being, and that's kind of the thing. So it's another going dark in the response of horrific crimes and sins against her, and then Victor, there's a lot of horrible things happened. He lost his family and the Riddler explosions and all that, and he's left in that scummy, crappy world. And so there's a lot of explanation for how these people get to where they are, but ultimately none of that is an excuse. But an explanation? Yeah, sure. And even the Penguin, he talks about his past and, growing up in that cesspool city of Gotham. It's at some point, it's the same story, and they all chose unwisely. But anyway, Penguin, it's the show to watch for the moment.